I'm going to apologize because I've got something. And so I'm gonna be sneezing and coughing, and I apologize.
Poor Jack.
Approval of the minutes from May 23rd, 2024.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from May 23rd, 2024.
I have a motion to approve the minutes from May 23rd, 2024. And I'll second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Approval of claims and payroll.
Payroll all in order. I'll make a motion then to approve the claim and payroll as presented by the Clark County Auditor.
And I'll second that. Motion as stated by Commissioner Kaufman. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Agenda amendments and approval.
If there are no changes, I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Okay, and I will second that. Motion as stated by Commissioner Kaufman. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Public comment, please. Mr. Fryerback? I'm sorry.
My name is William Carlock, address is 104 North Ferguson Street. Since my 2006 property purchase in Henryville, I've been shot at, dog killed, vehicle sabotaged, vandalized, towed, ticketed, sideswiped, driving record tarnished, bullied, trespassed on, called a liar, unlawfully restrained, blackballed, urinated on, called a jackass in the blue and white building, slandered, defamed, threatened, recklessly endangered by gross negligence resulting in fire and contamination confirmed by lab reports. However, I am the problem. We called the Sheriff's Department with no prevail due to enforcement of laws at their discretion. They show, but problems still remain. Dereliction of duty results with criminal activity with no consequences. We call Health Department only to be told to F off and die. We have officials involved in lawsuits, overstepping authority, misrepresentations for resolutions, tax sales investigated by the state, good old boy system, Clark County Attorney representing former corrupt Sheriff Jamie Knoll, not comfortable with that. It's been 2 months and Dean Alley Road still yet remains to be maintained. Where is public safety? Those with the ability to, the ones with the ability has the responsibility to do something. Truth hurts, but ignored. Mercy to guilty is cruelty to the innocent. Without accountability, justice cannot prevail. State of Indiana says stand your ground. Declaration states if government becomes destructive, the people have the right to alter or abolish. Ordinances are for all, not a select few. Limiting my speech, refusing me access to the agenda, ordinance 15-2017, which is against Article 3 of the Bill of Rights. This will not silence me. Put all this together, a pattern develops. When they can't control you, they control how people look at you. Some same ones remains, no changes. Bad apples only get worse. Time that the taxpayers to resume you officials for the better good of the Clark County taxpayers you work for.
Thank you. Ms. Curry?
Kelly Curry, 4819 Salem Noble Road, Jeffersonville, Indiana. Good evening, afternoon. How y'all? That's the Ohio Valley Crow.
Yeah.
I just wanted to touch base with you all about the Utica Fire District. No movement on that, you may be aware, I don't know. I got a phone call this week. We're gonna have to make some other arrangements. I think there's been some discussion with some other fire departments, but maybe the contract, but we need to talk about appointing 2 other people. And not Mark Goodlett, sorry to say, but I know who he used to run with. Maybe he's changed completely now. I don't know, but I'm not comfortable with that. His name was thrown out a couple times because he lives downtown in the Utica. So, you know, we need to find 2 other people that want to do it. I've been looking, I'm not crazy looking, cause I was thinking maybe we might be making some different arrangements with another fire department, but we need to do something. I would like to see you all call a meeting with perhaps Scott too, as your counsel, and call these other two board members that are current, and their fiscal officer, Josh Bro, and have them bring every bit of paperwork they have in, and let's maybe try to get together and see what those other two people are wanting to do. You know, I've heard nothing from them, and this can't continue. And I've attempted to call them again. So, we're gonna have to, I thought perhaps you all could use your authority as the ones who established the district and follow up on that and get them in here, and let's hold a meeting, a joint meeting, and even, you know, call whoever's in charge of that fire department now, I don't know who it is, Utica, and see where we're heading on this thing and see what we can do. Okay? Appreciate y'all. Let me know, hopefully before the next meeting, commissioners meeting. Okay.
All right,
Thanks,
thanks,
Good
Kelly.
evening. Thank you.
Larry, is it Mahaney?
Yes.
Okay.
Larry Mahaney, 1331 Ridgeway Drive, Jeffersonville. So I know it's not on the agenda, but my concern is the EMS issues. Now, I know New Chapel has had the contract since, I believe, 2020, is it? And the contract currently, the last time I saw, the terms were 6 ambulances for 911 coverage at all times. Now, I know you guys have said that you haven't been receiving any complaints on the response times or the coverage issues, but at the same time, therein lies the problem. To me, you are not doing your jobs if you are waiting for complaints in order to mitigate a known problem. Like, to me, there is no way that it took up until here recently to realize response time issues, and I'm wondering why no effort was put into investigating why there were response time issues, and if you did eventually find out, why things like non-emergent, runs from hospitals, like people being discharged to their homes, were allowed to wipe out coverage for the trucks that were supposed to respond to 911 calls. Basically, I'd like to know why the commissioners who issued this contract have done nothing to enforce the terms of it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, seeing that that is all for public comment, we're gonna move on to new business.
Tommy,
Um,
I got some information about Badger Lake.
That's Mr. Spencer.
okay, you have 3 minutes, and please state your name and address when you get up, and then I'll write your name on the, oh, did you? Okay. Yeah.
Oh, Neil.
I'm gonna give you this, because it's all color.
Okay.
So, it's just, this is the information I said, about the cow enforcement over on the road.
Okay. Your time's ticking, so.
Yep.
Okay, let's-
Thank you.
Neil Spencer, 8223 Tuttle Mill Road, Charlestown. Just some information there that I dug up on the solar, I've been at a couple meetings, missed last month, and there was been kind of some misrepresentations by some of the people that has been speaking to you all, giving you all information. I picked it up. And I know it wasn't correct, you'll probably do too also. And, but there was some information there about, I wanted to make sure that you all had, so you could just kind of go over it. And then, the next, a second issue is the horse manure up on Tuttle Mill Road, on the new horse manure at Tuttle Mill Road. Jack and I was talking about this for probably 3 or 4 years, probably at least 3.
Yeah.
And I've got 8 pictures there, that's just pictures I just took out of my car, going down the road. Week and a half ago or so, I went to church, and I got to church, I was smelling horse manure, and before I ever got to church, got into church, and, got in church, I smelled horse manure. And, so I thought it was somebody else, I thought it was on her feet. And so then I started just having to look down, I started looking down my pants. Well, it was on my left pant leg, horse manure, where I guess where it rubbed the side of the car, and I got out. So I could go, but that's the environment we've got to live in up there on Toll Mill Road, where all the Amish just completely took over. They took over everything up there. They completely changed everybody's life, as it was. We went back to the 1800s. I know Jack and I talked about the LGBTQ civil rights, about their civil rights, but we need to do something. We need to get Scott to figure out some way. Scott, if you can figure out some way, we need to do something. It's ridiculous. I mean, I think that day I went up there, I think I counted 14 piles, 14 places, but it was a slurry. I come up to a hill where you make a grade, and you make the grade, and you get up there, and horse manure is, the whole road, you cannot miss it. I told Jack years ago, I said, there's a double yellow line vaguely on that road. And, I'm gonna cross it. Please come up there and I'll see a horse manure on, and I'm gonna go home. So, thank you very much. The next time, just hope that information there is something y'all might be able to look at.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate y'all, thank you for letting me in.
Okay, so we're gonna move, Dr. Yazel, you're next.
Sure.
From the department heads, we're moving up to number 1.
Eric Yazel from the Clark County Health Department, as you know. Just to give some background, because I know EMS has been on the forefront. I think most everybody saw the statement that we put out yesterday. We just want to make sure that we're being transparent on what's going on out there in the community. New Chapel has experienced some shortages. We're doing some things to help them. They're doing some things themselves to increase their capability to respond. And that's one thing we want to make sure we're clear at, is we want to make sure our citizens know what's going on out there, because I became concerned that people were going to make poor decisions. I think there's a perception out there that if you call 911 that someone may not show up, and that's not accurate with what's going on out in the county. So we are doing some things, both helping our local resources operate to their full capacity. Some of the things that Larry mentioned as far as, interfacility transfers and things to try to maybe help keep some of our trucks out there responding to 911, and then looking at adjusting the safety plan to meet the needs of our community, are all things that are going on right now as we speak. We are gonna increase our transparency as far as response times. We get a report monthly, we will post those on our website so that people can see the response times, and they've honestly been pretty consistent over the last several years, give or take a minute or so each direction. We actually put a little more stock in what we call jot forms, which are individual run reports, because you could have a really prolonged response time on a sick person, and the monthly times may only move a few seconds. And that's important to us to see what's going on individually, and that also allows for reporting for individual care issues. And so we can't share publicly, personal information, but we will share those how many jot forms are out there and things like that too. Just again, reassure the public that there is oversight going on, and that we're working for not just short-term but long-term solutions and things like that. So that's kind of my live view of what's going on out there, but I'm happy to answer anything more specific.
I just have a question about some of the run times, because I know sometimes there was one that somebody said that on the Facebook page was like 20 minutes or something. And I don't know, because I don't work in the EMS business, but I don't know, they have 5 or 6 ambulances, but I know of one, they were all busy, so if someone calls in what happens when all the ambulances are on runs. It's not like they're sitting around eating cupcakes. So they're all on runs, and then, is that when they call in the mutual aid?
That's when mutually, when we interacted, yeah.
Okay, and I know
That's-
that Tri-Township has been willing to help with that.
Yep, I think Tri-Township has run 11, as of maybe lunch today, I think they've run 11 times since,
Okay.
Saturday morning.
Okay,
That is one of the things when we talk about the safety plan, some of the verbiage in the safety plan does limit our ability to have viable mutual aid, so I think those adjustments would help from that scenario. But you're exactly right, I think, you know, when you, that's the problem, when you see, you know, someone runs 24 times a day, a lot of people think it goes out every hour on the hour, and it doesn't, you know, and inevitably is 5 or 6 runs in a quick period, and it does, it puts a strain on any system, so having that viable mutual aid is really important, and Tri-Township has helped in those scenarios, and keeping as many trucks out and available to run 911 helps as well. So.
okay. And Scott County is also available for them.
Scott County has helped in a couple times as well, so,
Okay.
you know, they're, unfortunately, not just the state, our local state, it's nationwide, nobody's blessed with an overabundance, so I think counting on outside help is, you know, that's probably not too realistic.
Because they're busy too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody's kind of willing to help when they have the resources, but a lot of times they just don't, so.
Right. Okay. Any questions?
No, I don't have any questions. I appreciate your statement that you submitted to the News and Tribune. I think that does help. I don't know if it helps ease anybody's tension about it, but at least the facts are out there. That the situation is being constantly monitored by the health department and you as the director of the health department. And also we are keeping in constant touch with the other fire services and EMS services like Tri-Township, New Washington, Scott County, as Connie mentioned. So, you know, as of right now, we're covering our bases as best as we can. And, you know, and if things get, you know, if we have more issues, we will have to look at all the options that we have still up in front of us. So thank you for help making that clear.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thanks.
Okay, One Southern Indiana. Economic development update.
How you doing? Good to see you.
Well, as we get queued up, I'll just start off by saying thank you for providing us an opportunity to come in and offer an update. I had the honor of serving as Vice President of Economic Development at One Southern Indiana, and I think most of you also know Melissa Sprigler, who leads our investor relations. So again, kind of 2 jobs. One, just to say thank you for your investment in our work as the local economic development organization for Clark County. And then 2, to provide a kind of a quick update on our activity in hopes that you'll maintain that investment in our work. So I want to start off before kind of getting into some of the more tangible activities and impact updates with just a couple of slides holistically around economic development. I'll get into some more details, but last year we saw roughly about 130 unique projects or leads that our team responded to. The primary partner, lead generator in those 130 projects, I'd say probably 80% of those, come from the state of Indiana through the Indiana Economic Development Corporation, which I know you guys are all aware of. So this is a snapshot from 2020 to 2023. I'm just going to show you a couple graphics that I think offer just some insights into the status of project demand right now. So on this side, you'll see a breakout of those projects that are interested in a site or interested in a building or a site or a building. So you'll see that a pretty even balance there between site versus an existing building. On the other graphic there to the right, you'll see sale versus lease, with the gray representing sale or lease. So you'll see there's a slight advantage there for sale opportunities versus building leasing. The next slide, again, just really kind of goes into the square footage request for the types of inventory of project requests that we're getting. The blue is 2020, that far right on each of those columns, the yellow would represent 2023. So the only analysis that I would give here is you will see that, you know, our bread and butter is still that 25,000 square foot up to about 150,000 square foot. But when you get over to the far right, at over 500,000 square foot, what you'll see is a continuing trend from 2020 with larger square footage requirements from buildings year over year. The next slide here is on acreage requests. So again, you'll see the bread and butter is still kind of in that, you know, call it 10 to 50 acre range. We see a lot of activity, but I think what you'll probably be kind of the most significant change is on the far right. So in 2020, the state of Indiana had one project lead that requested over 100 acres. Last year we had over 32. So you can see the parcel size demand for the size of projects that are really reshoring into the U.S. Are requiring much more acreage requests. A couple other things I would just highlight is kind of some of the commuter patterns. It's a very key part of somebody's kind of quality of place and quality of life. It's how much time they spend in the car. So you'll see that Clark and Floyd both kind of lead the pack with the shortest commuter times. But I think we've got a plan to make that commuter time even shorter, which is when you really look at our overall commuter patterns in the region. Again, I'll just kind of summarize. You've got roughly 50,000 individuals that on a day-to-day basis go back and forth across the bridges for work. You'll see that we've got an outflow from Indiana of 36,000 into Kentucky to work every day versus a 13,000 inflow from Kentucky into Indiana. So with all of the activity here, we're really excited, and when we market our community, we really talk a lot about that recapture rate, minimizing that commuter pattern even more, and limiting some of the barriers for, as we have increased job opportunities, livable wages here, we're seeing some incremental shifts in those commuter patterns, particularly on the heels of the 2016 completion of the Ohio River Bridges project. So just a couple of kind of high level kind of insights there from what we're seeing on our perspective. To get into kind of really the primary point of the presentation, I would just, you know, again state our primary functions really center around new business attraction, existing business expansion, and existing business retention. So working with those existing companies in our market. So how do we do that? We do that from a range of different tactics, from small business engagement, small business loan fund management. We have a number of kind of different events to advocate on behalf of opportunities and development. We try to stay very closely connected to our elected officials. I know we had a great representation this year at our elected officials event. It was an exclusive event that we hosted. So we have a range of tactics that really feed into how we promote and ultimately, hopefully, plan and retain investments here in our market. We have a very seasoned staff here on our team that I'm honored to lead. Some very familiar names and faces on there, I'm sure, with Ann Keller and Matt Hall, who have been staples in the communities for a number of years. Newer onto the team would be Rachel Armstrong, who leads our small business services, which I'll highlight some of the activities there. And our newest colleague, Jack Harrison, as an economic development specialist, really working to provide some administrative and baseline supports across attraction, expansion, small business development, and then also our team also manages the Metro Manufacturing Alliance. Sometimes I call it a mini chamber within the chamber, responding and staying closely connected to our manufacturing industry. So you've got the report in front of you. I'll go through and highlight a few things, and then I'll end my presentation with some of the successes over the past year. So as I stated earlier, we worked 130 unique economic development projects. That is a significant increase from 2021. You'll see there 16 more than 2022, over 30 additional projects from 2021. So we continue to have a robust pipeline with a lot of interest in our region. We continue partnering with a number of regional organizations where we find commonalities, whether that's the shared metropolitan downtown of Louisville, where we partner both with also with our Kentucky counterparts. We're also part of the South Central Indiana Economic Development Group, which is comprised of 10 counties along the I-65 corridor, all Indiana-based companies. And we do a number of external marketing activities with them. This past year, had a couple of domestic trips to meet with consultants and companies nationally. And in late November, had the opportunity to travel to Japan and meet with a number of our Clark County-based companies at their headquarters, including one of our newer entries in River Ridge, ATTC, which is their parent company is Ison Takioka. Ison is a Japanese-based company headquartered in Colombia. They're a tier 1 automotive supplier, primarily to Toyota, but to other other OEMs as well. American Fujifilm and DA Inc., parent company Kojima Industries. In addition to that, I would note that this past year I was honored to be asked to join the Indiana Economic Development Association Board of Directors to represent our region here, so I'll continue to serve, and that's a 2-year term. So we have active representation on that statewide association. As I mentioned, we try to stay very closely with our elected officials proactively, as well as always available if you need to reach out. Our small business services, we operate both the One Fund and the Caesars Revolving Loan Program Fund, which is obviously more focused on Floyd County. So what I'm going to speak to is obviously related to the One Fund. We did have one $20,000 loan program to Chapman Funeral Homes when that operation was acquired, as well as provided one-on-one advising services to 31 unique companies within Clark County. I also mentioned the Metro Manufacturing Alliance. A couple of kind of key programs that I would just reference there would be our annual summit, which was hosted every May. We have about 150 plus individuals at that, representing a range of manufacturers to bring them opportunities and insights on how to leverage their operations, as well as maybe the thing I'm most proud of, which is Manufacturing Week. As part of National Manufacturing Month, we're honored to administer that program here locally. We do that by going down the NOCO Arts District for a few days, and we have roughly about 1,000 high school students representing various high schools throughout our region to come and have an opportunity to interact with roughly 20 of our manufacturing employers, and we'll again host that this year. Again, we're already kind of into 2024, so it's hard for me not to give at least a little bit of some insights into that. I would just note that we've had 110 meetings and outreach visits to existing companies. 64 of those are here within Clark County year to date. And with that small business services, I just want to make a kind of a quick plug here that currently we have $132,000 available for Clark County small businesses. So if you have any companies or any constituents that might be underserved or unbankable, we're a great option to provide them some gap funding or financing for operating or equipment investments. So next up, I'm excited to announce that last year was a record year for our region and for One Southern Indiana, since becoming the local economic development organization in 2006. In 2023, we were able to locate for the first time over $1 billion worth of capital investment into the market, representing 14 different projects with a nice balance between expansions and attractions. Now again, this does represent throughout the 3-county service area that we operate, so Floyd, Clark, and Scott. The next slide is Clark County specific. We have 9 announcements in 2023, representing nearly 2,300 jobs, just over $115 million of annual recurring payroll, as well as just shy of that $1 billion mark in capital investment. Next up, of those 14 projects located in 2023, again, you'll see the breakout here that included just over 2,500 jobs, the majority going to attraction projects. The new capital investments, again, just over $1 billion, with over $1 billion going to attraction versus expansion. Of those project announcements, $134 million in annual recurring payroll, with the majority going to attraction. This next slide, of those 14 projects, the average wage of those projects were nearing $26 an hour. I think, as you guys already know, but just as a refresher, when we evaluate projects, there are a number of different metrics that we are assessing projects in collaboration with local government in the state of Indiana. One of those is related to that average hourly wage. As I say, it's not a race to the bottom. What we're trying to do is increase the regional and household opportunity within our region, so we traditionally only support projects that are above that county average wage. In 2022, Clark County's average wage was $23 an hour. It's now ticked up to $24.44, so that's over $1 an hour increase year over year. Last year, the county also experienced over $1 increase year over year. With that, again, recognizing we're already halfway into 2024, I want to acknowledge that we have had 4 additional locations in the past 6 months in Clark County, including Meta, Bentelli, MKS Vision, and most recently 1440 Foods that located in the former Enjoy Life Foods building. So since 2006, we're honored to have supported 226 projects representing over 21,000 jobs, just under $1 billion of new added payroll, and nearly 4.2 million in new capital investment. If you didn't do the math there, nearly $2 billion of that has come in within the past 18 months. So we are seeing significant interest and investment into the market. With that, again, we're only able to do this work with a number of private and public investors that support our work. So from an accountability standpoint, we always monitor what that return on the investment is to our investors. And so we're proud to say we've seen significant uptick in what that return is. So we're currently at 89.16 for every $1 invested into our work with a return on annualized payroll, and just under $400 for every dollar invested on new capital investment in the market. So I'll close and honored to take any questions, but just want to say thank you again for your continued confidence and support in our work, and just really honored to be in a position to work closely with you.
Thank you. Any questions? I also too want to thank you too, I know in cooperation too with Workforce One. A lot of this has been accomplished through them, especially their, the manufacturing end of it and training that's going on there, and the cooperation we have with the new manufacturing facilities that are coming to our area. So thank you for the work that you work with Workforce One also. Okay.
And I do believe that you guys have a request to retain our current investment level of $15,000 annually, so I would hope that would be favorably met.
We've already took care of that.
Oh, what did I even present?
I know.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay, elevator maintenance agreement for Judicial Center.
Yes, so, Marion Shepherd has presented this to us. The company that we currently have is Kone, K-O-N-E. I think it goes back to at least 1990s, if not before, back in the mine authority. So, this would be a new renegotiated contract. The current contract we have with Kone has, over the years, has had these escalation charges. So it currently has gotten up to $893 a month for the maintenance of the 3 elevators at the Judicial Center. So Marion has been instrumental in negotiating with Kone and actually getting other proposals or quotes to try to find the lowest cost. So he has been able to renegotiate a new contract with Kone. He doesn't like their service, he was just trying to renegotiate price. So the current, or the proposed renegotiated contract is down to $400, there's different options there, so it would be the $490 per month option. So that would be a reduction from the current, what we're paying, $893. And then I guess we just contacted other companies, the other lowest he could find would be $575 per month. So this would be the lowest renegotiated contract that we could find. And the Kone, these elevator companies always have 4-year maintenance agreements, so we'd be locking into a 4-year price of the $490 per month, which is a significant reduction. So I credit Marion for taking time to work with the current company to renegotiate that contract.
Yeah, bravo.
So the effective date would be of today's date,
Today's
June 6, 2024, for a 4-year term at the $490 per month.
Okay. I'll make a motion to approve the elevator contract. I'm glad you said Kone, cause I would've called it Cone.
Yeah, Marion, I think Marion's here, you pronounce it Kone, right?
Kone, at the rate of the annual in advance, payment of $490 per month, effective June 6th, 2024, for a 4-year term.
And I will second that motion as stated by Commissioner Kaufman. Any questions or comments? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Quote for the auditor's office lobby area.
Yes, so this was a quote that Marion Shepherd, our Director of Building Operations, presented to us. This is a proposal for the auditor's lobby suite area to put in some new security wall windows and a security door to make those renovations to the public lobby area, just to add a little more security for them. So this particular quote is to New Direction Construction, in the amount of $13,881.33.
I make a motion to approve the quote from New Directions Construction LLC for the renovations of the auditor's suite with new wall windows and main door in the amount of $13,881.33.
And I will second that motion as stated by Commissioner Kaufman. Do we know what fund that's coming out of? CUCAP.
That's capital improvement, yes.
Okay. Any other questions besides one? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Pledge of ARP funds to purchase new outdoor warning sirens.
Yes, we have Gavin Hebner here, who's been instrumental in working to put together this proposal and working with partnership with some other cities and towns.
Good evening, Gavin Hebner, Clark County Emergency Management Director. In front of you this evening is a proposal for utilizing the American Rescue Plan funds to purchase outdoor warning sirens. In front of you is the funding and partnerships breakdown. One change on that, just last second, just due to some budget issues, is the city of Charlestown is not going to do the 50% match. However, the town of Sellersburg has committed to do 2 50% matches, so the overall project still stands with the amount of sirens that we're willing to put in. So this is a partnership for new outdoor warning sirens with the city of Jeffersonville funding 50%. They have voted and confirmed that. The town of Sellersburg with 2 sirens at 50%. And then the Utica Town Council has not met yet, but they are discussing the 50%. It sounds like those funds will still be there after this proposal. And the overall project is looking to add 7 sirens in the Clark County area, and River Ridge and Jeffersonville, working with them to fund 50% of sirens. So River Ridge and Jeffersonville will be purchasing 1 whole siren for this area. And it is a total ARP pledge of $160,000, with a total project cost of $240,000.
Can I make a motion then to approve the ARP contribution toward the installation of, you said 7, right? 7 sirens or 6?
It'd be 6 sirens.
It's gonna be 6,
Yes.
6 sirens, with cooperation of other entities as listed. And the contribution from the ARP funds will be $160,000.
And I will second that motion as stated by Commissioner Kaufman. Any other questions, comments? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gavin. Annual operation report for local roads and streets.
Yes, this is the requirement, the annual operations report. This would be for the year 2023 that is submitted to the state. This was prepared by the highway department. The annual report, I think you'll see all the information on the format that's required by the state board of accounts for the annual report.
I'll make a motion to approve the annual operations report for local roads and streets and bridges for the year of 2023.
And I will second that motion as stated by Commissioner Kaufman. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Then, item on the agenda is the Third Street Pentecostal Church BPS fundraiser intersection request.
This is a request we got from them. They conduct this periodically. I don't know if they've done it every year or not, but
We've done it in the past,
we've done it in the past and everything. This is to help fund their Vacation Bible School fundraiser and basically asking permission to be able to set up a collection site at the intersection of Highway 160 and Ferguson Lane in Henryville. I'll make a motion to approve the support of that and approve that request to do this collection site at Highway 160 and Ferguson Lane in Jeffersonville.
And you said Henryville. And we got, if
I meant to say Henryville,
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
If we could put the date,
Sitting on the right here
the
reading.
date, and for the record, the date and times that we're.
Yeah,
approving
and the date being on Saturday, 6/22/24, or Saturday, 6/29/24, from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m.
And I will second that motion as stated by Commissioner Kaufman. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Okay. I don't see any old business. Does anyone have anything? Okay. Department heads and elected officials reports, auditor.
Just one thing, just appreciate you all for getting the security issues looked at in the office. I think there was a meeting about, what, a month ago or something, where some concerns brought.
Yeah, we had
You
a
listened to
presentation on
Yeah.
security and everything, and several employees were here, some of your employees were there, and expressed their concerns, so I told them we would address that as quickly as possible.
So we appreciate it, thank you, that's all I got.
Mr. Luke,
Nothing for tonight.
Brian is not here. Sheriff's Department.
Yes, Ms. Silvers, the Sheriff's Department would like to thank, the outpouring support for our officers that we've lost in the past week. Sergeant Rainey and Corrections Officer, Charles Wimberly. We've had a lot of outpouring. We appreciate, your thoughts and prayers during this time. The jail population right now is 436 with 43 federal inmates.
Okay, thank you. Other elected officials and department heads. Let's see. Anybody? Charlie, you're visiting, got anything?
I just want to thank you all for your support on the tornado warning siren. I know it's been an ongoing conversation, and appreciate your support on making that possible for not just the town of Sellersburg, but for the rest of the county.
Thank you. Okay, and any other business? No? Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.